Welcome back to yet a brand new tier list video. You guys are really about to see my favorite underground rappers because we're going to be going over all of their albums, mixtapes, EPs that they have dropped. There is a lot of good artists who have dropped a lot of good projects this year, so I kind of have a jumble of a lot of different things. I probably forgot some, so let me know in the comments down below. Without a doubt, Yeat dropped one of the best projects this year with 2 Alive. I'm including the Geek Pack as like the deluxe. Yeat kind of just went mainstream on us. He's not really underground. He is 5 times bigger than anyone on this list. There's no doubt about it, but I still want to include Yeat because he is the leader of this new generation and inspires and influences quite a bit of these artists here. And he dropped a couple projects, but 2 Alive was crazy. He did have mainstream features with Uzi on there a couple times, Gunna, Young Thug. There's plenty of insane songs on there. It's really, really long, but S tier for 2 Alive. Next up, Ken Carson. I'm going to give him an A tier with his album X. I think that I need to definitely re-listen to this a little more because I like it, but it's not S tier because there was some skips on this album. A lot of albums, you're gonna hear me say this, are 20 songs long and it's way too long. I would rather have you cut it down to your best 10 to 15 songs. I wish more rappers would do that. But I think with this project, there was a handful of good songs. There's a handful that didn't really need to be on there. A lot of it was Ken on his usual rage beat stuff. I did like to see him feature Destroy Lonely, Homicide Gang on there. There's a lot of good tracks on here. This could definitely grow on me and become an S tier. But yeah, a couple songs on here I don't like. A tier, it's still a good album. And Destroy Lonely, gotta mention him next to his boy Ken Carson. And to be honest, I'm gonna put this at A tier. I definitely gotta listen to No Stylist a little bit more. The song No Stylist is actually blown up on TikTok, which I mean, I guess they can have it. That song is absolutely insane. And Destroy Lonely has more monthly listeners than Ken Carson. Obviously, he dropped more recent, and it's not like the biggest deal or anything. But I did like that Destroy Lonely's album had a lot of good sounds on it. This is when I kind of started to get familiar with him. Destroy Lonely is kind of someone that I'm just getting into. To be honest, I'm kind of bandwagoning if I'm being honest here. I did like how on the second half of his album, he switched up his beats a little bit. You could tell he's kind of experimenting with his sound, but pretty much an all solo project, and I think he did his thing. This is one I want to listen to more, and I think this is one that could also creep into S tier the more and more I listen. We're gonna go ahead and mention Sofago, not Pink Hearts, because he has not dropped that. He's not dropped one fucking song this entire year. He did drop off a little EP for us before Pink, and I don't know if it's just because his label situation, joining in Travis Scott, or what's about to happen, but we need to have Pink Hearts to really judge him. Obviously, Sofago was honestly the biggest artist that we would have mentioned, but to be honest, everyone is kind of surpassing him because he's not really dropping. This EP was cool. There's some cool sounds on it. I don't really go back to it a ton, but I mean, when you do listen to it, they are enjoyable Sofago songs. I don't think it's his best project, and I don't think it's supposed to be because they're kind of just throwaways. At least he did give us this though. But yeah, hopefully he just drops the album soon so we can have a fair rating. A little EP of I think 4 or 5 songs. It's not gonna be able to compare to a full project from guys like Ken and Lone. Beautiful Meet You Girls, this was Ty Fontaine's first project this year. This was something that he was working on. I'm gonna go ahead and slip it into A tier because I listened to this a decent amount. I like pretty much every song on it. He went for more of like a alternative, singy, R&B vibe kind of. He's dropped a lot of good songs this year. He is still one of my favorite underrated artists in the game, and he kind of has been the last few years. I think he's a really, really good project artist. So I have to throw on a couple things that he's dropped this year. Beautiful Meet You Girls, not his best, but a very enjoyable listen, and it had seamless transitions. It was the most like professional project I think he's put out, and we're gonna see what he's gonna be cooking up with Ascension 2. That could possibly be his best. Summers, he went ahead and dropped a surprisingly amazing album, and it was kind of a 2-part album. Again, it was really long. I like it more than Ken and Lone, so I'm gonna put it S tier. I think Yeat might be a little bit better. I definitely do think 2 Alive is better than Fallen Raven, and Summers kind of just came out of nowhere and clicked for me instantly. But I love how this project is these hard-ass rapping songs. I love the beats. Then you kind of hit the interlude in the album halfway through, and the second half is more singy and kind of plug-and-B style, and I think that made this album why it's so good. And in my opinion, Summers just makes catchier songs, at least on his album this year, than the guys below him on the list. And I've actually gone to this project a decent amount. I just didn't expect Summers to be the guy to have that really, really underrated release this year. So again, you got to give him props. Fallen Raven was a great project. I think this is one that I need to listen to even more. But yeah, definitely S tier when we're talking about the projects that have dropped this year. I'm gonna go ahead and give Lucki an S tier because this project, while I think I still have, it's really close to Summers in my opinion. We'll kind of put those at a tie right now. Lucki has a lot of amazing songs on his album. Still getting familiar with a few of them. He had a really long track list, pulling through with those Babyface Ray features and Future on his album. And this album is really, really catchy because he's kind of just in his bag. I love the production. I love the lazy flow and kind of just his voice, and I'm just really gotten familiar with Lucki. So he's been my favorite to listen to out of anyone on this list, maybe other than Yeat. Again, kind of someone I just recently checked out. I've been hopping on the bandwagon of a lot of these artists. I'm not gonna act like I'm an OG to any of these people, to be honest. Can, this is just a week old, and I literally have just listened to this. Way too geeked. To be honest, I didn't save too many tracks. I don't want to put it at mid because there's stuff that I definitely, I think B is a good spot. I think Sofago is better in the B category here. But I will gotta say that Can's growing on me. I don't prefer him over too many people. I think he's a dope artist though. Majority of it though does kind of sound the same. Album's pretty long, way too geeked. You know, I had to wait quite a while for it. And I'm still just learning Can's music, to be honest. This is one that could grow on me with more listens. We're gonna move on to Yeat. We're gonna put Life. Not trying to meat ride too hard, but Yeat is just, there's a reason why he's 5 times popular than everyone. I mean, Life was an amazing project. I love that this mixtape was 12 songs. I think he really picked out pretty much the best songs that he possibly could. I've been listening to this quite a bit, but there's some underrated songs on here too. Kind of just like, not really the filler songs because he didn't have too much of that on this album, but there's a lot of just kind of his like solo records or kind of just underrated stuff on Life in my opinion. And I think this is Yeat's project to say, I'm here to stay. I can sell as many copies on this little mixtape with no promotion as I can my debut album. Yeat is just, bro is a monster, and that single Talk is becoming one of his more popular songs. Fun fact, I literally have to do a speech on Yeat next week. And I wrote an entire essay on Yeat's catalog, so that is what I'm doing currently in college. We have to mention September's Rich, and I kind of gotta give his project a B, because I did like a couple songs, but it's kind of sleepy. I think I don't even know if this is his first album or mixtape or what, but BNL dropped earlier this year. I think September's Rich has a few good songs. He's kind of nothing crazy. I don't really got too much to say other than, but he's got some good songs out there. He's got a lot of good songs with Yeat on Yeat's label, and so with that being said, he's got a chance, and I think he's a dope artist. Autumn is someone that might be a little controversial, putting Antagonist at mid, because I kind of just recently listened to this. I know some people like it. I personally just can't really get into Autumn for some reason. There's sometimes to me where I just don't want to hear these loud songs. I don't want to hear these rage beats from him. I would much rather just turn on a lot of these artists above him, to be honest. I just haven't really got his music to click, and I feel like sometimes he can just sound like Can or Yeat. DC the Dawn, I did not like majority of this album. I think it was way too long. I think some of these songs were way too loud. I actually preferred the end of the album, and I like his more melodic songs. Still, I just don't really like his voice as much. I haven't really clicked with DC the Don yet. He's got a strong fan base. I know that rides for him, although they did cross the line when I saw a tweet yesterday saying he had a better fan base and community than Juice WRLD, which is just crazy. So just chill out, DC the Don fans. Now Cochise, I think he gave us A tier with this album. He had a lot of momentum with the singles that came out last year. He dropped a few just TikTok bangers last year, which kind of just did his thing. Some of his more popular songs. He chose like Young Nudie, Chief Keef, and kind of just different sounds for his project. But I like that he had a theme to it, being Mr. Professor, wearing that trench coat. I think Cochise is a great rapper. He's a great character. I think he has got different styles of music to him. I think Cochise is one of the best artists and one of my favorites out of everyone we've mentioned here. He's got a lot of great songs. SSG Kobe, this was someone who I'm just waiting on him to drop his album. I haven't really bumped this tape too much, or I guess it was just an EP called Relapse. It had a few good songs on it, a few I also didn't really like. I would say that it's better than these projects. I'll put it next to Sofago. But he kind of just has been dropping these little EPs. I'm ready for his album. I'm ready to see what he does there. And his song last year, MIA, was top 10, one of my favorite songs last year. So now Young Chris kind of dropped his first project. And to be honest, he He had a lot of rapping at the beginning. He had that song with Yachty, that was cool. He did switch it up for the last few songs. I will give him a B because I like this a little more. Again, he kind of has a similar voice and style to like DC the Don, like that kind of rapping, if you get what I'm saying. And that isn't really for me. I don't really like those songs, or I don't like them yet, at least. I'm not going to shut it out forever. Ty Fontaine dropped another album this year. I guess this was mixtape. He kind of just dropped us off like 18 songs. This was kind of his worst project, to be honest, and I don't think it was intended to be his best. He kind of just gave us weird songs of experimenting. Some of them are on rage beats, and there's some good ones on here, but you could definitely tell he kind of just dropped off a mixtape and didn't really put his all into it or really get into like character for it like he did his other projects. Didn't really see too many people enjoy What the Fuck Is Pink. I'll put it at B. I threw Babytron in here as like the last one, and to be honest, I didn't really like Babytron's project as much. I really like Bin Reaper 2, and I know he's dropping Bin Reaper 3 this month, so maybe I just like that series from him. But Babytron is hilarious. I love his bars, and it's fun to throw on his music a lot of the time. And for Megatron and this album, I'll have to re-listen to it. But to be honest, I didn't really like it that much. I don't think any of these projects were booty cheeks. That's a little tough, but I also, the few at the bottom are kind of pushing it. But anyway, these are like the top underground, these are the top new gen SoundCloud era albums, mixtapes, EPs, whatever that have dropped this year. Obviously, we're probably missing a few. So this is just kind of what I've listened to, and I made a big list. We're also waiting for a few people to drop, so maybe we can update this soon. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, WRL tier list, let me know. I'll leave it in the description below if you guys want to fill out your own tier list, because this is one that I made. And yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.